Imagine feeling physical pain, not because you broke a bone, not because you were injured, not because something attacked you, simply because nobody called, nobody replied, nobody noticed. It sounds ridiculous, but scientists have discovered something strange. The human brain may react to social rejection using some of the same systems involved in physical pain. Think about that. A broken arm, a deep cut, being ignored. Your brain partially speaks the same language for all three. Why? Why would evolution create something like that? The answer leads to a disturbing possibility. A part of your brain may still believe that being alone can kill you. And for most of human history, it was right. Today, you can survive without a text message. You can survive without social media. You can survive without being invited to a party. You know that. I know that. But your brain wasn't built for today's world. Your brain was built for a very different place. A place where losing people could mean losing everything. Imagine standing outside a camp 30,000 years ago. The sun is setting. The temperature is falling. The tribe is behind you. The wilderness is ahead. And you've just been cast out. No shelter, no protection, no allies, no fire, no second chances. You watch the last glow of the campfire disappear into the darkness. And suddenly, you are facing a world your ancestors feared more than almost anything else. Complete isolation. Today, that sounds uncomfortable. Back then, it could be deadly, because humans were never designed to survive alone. A human can't outrun a wolf. A human can't overpower a bear. No claws, no fangs, no armor. By ourselves. We're surprisingly vulnerable. So how did humans conquer the planet? The answer wasn't strength. It wasn't speed. It wasn't intelligence alone. It was cooperation. Something so important that evolution built an alarm system to protect it. Every person in the group mattered. The hunter mattered. The gatherer mattered. The healer mattered. Every individual carried part of the burden. No one carried all of it. And that's why one punishment terrified ancient humans more than almost anything else. Exile. Societies all over the world practiced some form of banishment. Different cultures, different names, same punishment, removal from the group. Today, if someone tells you to leave a city, you can start over somewhere else. Ancient humans couldn't, because for them, the tribe wasn't just a community. It was survival itself. Imagine watching everyone you've ever known walk away. Your family, your friends, your allies, gone, forever. You're not just losing people, you're losing protection, you're losing resources, you're losing your best chance of survival. Because long before civilization, evolution learned a simple lesson. Humans survive together, or they don't survive at all. Archaeologists have discovered ancient skeletons that shouldn't exist. People with devastating injuries, people who survived conditions that would almost certainly be fatal alone. One skeleton found in Iraq belonged to a man known as Shanidar I. He lived roughly 45,000 years ago. One arm was badly damaged. He had significant vision loss, multiple serious injuries, yet he survived for years, possibly decades, without hospitals, without medicine. How? Other humans helped him. Someone shared food. Someone provided protection. Someone cared enough to keep him alive. And Shanidar wasn't unique. Archaeologists keep finding similar examples, again and again and again. Those discoveries reveal something remarkable. Compassion isn't modern. Cooperation isn't modern. They're ancient, extremely ancient, because once your life depends on other people, relationships stop being optional. A friend becomes protection. A friend becomes survival. So the human brain developed a way to enforce that lesson, not with logic, but with emotion. Think about hunger. Your brain doesn't calmly explain that your body requires calories. It creates discomfort. It creates urgency, a feeling that's impossible to ignore. Think about thirst. It grabs your attention immediately, and perhaps loneliness works exactly the same way, not simply sadness. Something much older, an alarm, a survival alarm. Researchers placed volunteers inside brain scanners, then exposed them to something surprisingly simple. Social rejection, not violence, not injury, just exclusion. Participants played a virtual ball-tossing game. At first, everything was normal. Then, suddenly, the other players stopped throwing them the ball. That's it. No threats, no insults, just being left out. Yet, inside the brain, regions associated with physical pain became active. The brain could have treated rejection like disappointment. Instead, it activated systems connected to pain. Because from an evolutionary perspective, Rejection wasn't merely unpleasant, it was dangerous. A smoke alarm doesn't wait until the house burns down. And loneliness doesn't wait until you're completely isolated. It warns you early, before the real danger begins. What if loneliness isn't the problem? What if loneliness is the solution? Without hunger, you might forget to eat. Without loneliness, you might stop seeking connection. And for most of human history, that could be a very costly mistake. But here's where the story gets strange. The ancient world disappeared. The alarm didn't. The predators disappeared. The alarm remained. The tribes disappeared. The alarm remained. Which may explain one of the biggest paradoxes of modern life. Human beings are more connected than ever before. Yet loneliness is everywhere. A person can message thousands of people every day, see hundreds of faces before breakfast, yet many people feel lonely, not occasionally, constantly. Why? Because the ancient brain isn't measuring numbers, it's measuring belonging, trust, closeness. Imagine giving a starving person pictures of food, thousands of pictures. Would that satisfy hunger? Of course not, because hunger isn't looking for images, it's looking for nourishment. And loneliness works exactly the same way. The ancient brain isn't looking for attention, it's looking for belonging. People it can trust, people who would stay when things become difficult. You can have thousands of followers, endless notifications, and still feel completely alone. Because the system inside your head evolved for campfires, not algorithms, relationships, not audiences, tribes, not platforms. So what is loneliness actually trying to tell us? It isn't telling you that nobody likes you. It isn't telling you something is wrong with you. It may be telling you something much simpler. You need connection, real connection, not visibility, not attention, connection. One trusted friend matters more than thousands of followers. One meaningful conversation matters more than hundreds of notifications. Because your ancient brain isn't counting people, it's searching for belonging. And belonging is something numbers can never measure. Have you ever felt lonely in a crowded room, surrounded by people, voices, conversations, yet somehow you still feel alone? Because loneliness isn't about physical distance, it's about emotional distance. And your brain knows the difference. It always has. Remember that person standing outside the camp 30,000 years ago, watching the last glow of the campfire disappear into the darkness? Deep inside, you share the same brain, the same survival systems, the same ancient wiring, and somewhere inside that wiring, a prehistoric human is still awake, still watching the horizon, still asking one question: am I still part of the tribe? That question is older than civilization, older than writing, older than recorded history. And that's why being ignored hurts. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken, but because your brain was built in a world where other people meant survival. A world where belonging wasn't comfort, it was protection. A world where loneliness wasn't an inconvenience, it was a warning. The campfires disappeared. The tribes became cities. The danger changed, but the signal remained, because evolution never removed it. For too long, it worked. The feeling you call loneliness may be older than language, older than civilization itself. A message passed from one generation to the next. A message that once kept your ancestors alive. A message your brain is still trying to deliver. The world became modern. The human mind never completely did. And somewhere deep inside you, a prehistoric survivor is still trying to make it back to the fire before nightfall. Because a part of your brain still remembers something the modern world forgot. Humans were never meant to survive alone. And perhaps they never truly will.